Oh. We lost the seal already. Oh no!
Oh,
right when you clicked live.
Did we just die? All right, everybody. Welcome to Hunter's Hangout. This is our 7th season. I can't believe it's been that long. And it's our 4th episode. And what we have in store for you is a bunch of awesome hunters and a bunch of awesome prizes from our sponsors. And we're going to hand it over to Kathy LeBeau. She's going to tell you how to do all the questions now that we have Facebook messing up on us and all the updates going on.
Yes, because of all the technical difficulties with Facebook today, I will be taking questions from both the Facebook and YouTube link. So,
yeah, and we'll repeat that throughout the show, so in case people that come in later notice. And then we have our MC, Mr. Phil Racosta.
Oh, yeah. Now is this my time to talk?
Apparently not.
No, apparently not. No, well, I'm going to pass over to Jamie to go over some prizes that all you guests can win tonight by leaving some questions in the comments. So, Jamie?
Okay. Well, let's see. We have a bunch of prizes tonight. The first one is this fabulous clown mask from Face Factory FX.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. And then Fright Props is giving away a torso tray. So you can enjoy some lovely food on top of that. Sinful Audio is giving away 1 free SFX library, 25% off of original sound design, and 10% off of amps or speakers. Ornaments is giving away a ghost face ornament.
It'll take 20 minutes to do it.
Froggy's Fog is giving away 1 gallon of Fog.
Nice.
Scarrett Badges is giving away 7 badges that you can award your actors.
Nice.
7.
Super cool.
Sam Haynes is giving away 50% off to everyone watching tonight if you order using the code HAUNTERS.
Ooh, nice.
One lucky watcher tonight will get 1 of 3 realistic looking skulls from Nightmare Makers.
That's cool.
We also have a $25 gift certificate from XFX Makeup.
Cool. Nice.
And someone is going to win 1 free non-prescription normal size pair of lenses of your choice from Exotic Lenses.
Awesome.
Nice.
And someone is going to win this awesome mask that you see here from Missing Fingers Productions.
Cool. Nice.
Well, wait, there's more.
There's more.
Hot Labs is giving away 4 of these Hunters Hangout coasters and $10 off of any order. Of a order, I should say.
I want some coasters.
I know, those are awesome. And then, last but not least, Hotwire Foam Factory is giving away a $25 gift card.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Holy
Awesome.
cow. That's a lot of prizes, man, for everybody.
That is.
That is. So ask your questions, because questions get you entered to win.
Yep. And make sure you guys comment on YouTube and Facebook for those of you just joining. For those of you having trouble on Facebook, you can leave comments on the YouTube page tonight and we will ask them. So we will start the night off with the seal from Mckee Manor. Seal, why don't you go ahead and give us a little background on how you got into haunting and how long you've been doing it and what type of display you got.
All right. Well, my name is Vasil Mckee. I'm the owner of Mckee Manor in Madison, Alabama. And we're just a small home haunt and we do donations. This year we had donated to St. Jude, and last year we had done the hurricane because of that.
Oh, that's great.
How long you been doing this?
This has been my 4th year. I started whenever I was 8.
Wow.
Yeah. When did you start getting into it?
around the 5-ish area.
Dang.
I was scaring. We had 5. I had built my own front porch area, and it was like a miniature haunt.
Oh, very cool.
Did you at least go trick-or-treating, or did you stop that at a young age too?
Stopped it. I had mostly just scared people around.
Nice.
Joe Klein wants to know, where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, I had a good friend named Shane. He used to own a big haunted house in Huntsville named Disturbia, and now he runs a Christmas place called, I think, Santa Land.
They always go that way. I don't know why.
Yeah, the haunt got molded in, so it had destroyed everything.
Damn.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Vasile. We'll move over to Heidi and Travis from the Hollowed Patch. Why don't you guys give us a little background on your haunting experience?
Well, it's been maybe 4 or 5 years at this point. We started with, we bought a home and did the boring kid knock on the door, ring the doorbell, hand out candy, and that wasn't working. So we started dressing up and then dressing up the yard. And before you knew it, we were building walkthroughs and barns and ships for the kids to come in. So we've always had a love for Halloween, but we became like that excessive neighbor that everybody wonders what's going on.
We're the Halloween house around the neighborhood.
But we're really just a small, like we just do our front yard. 2 years ago was the first time we did a walkthrough. We normally haunt our own yard. We just recently started recruiting neighbors to haunt for us.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
And where are you guys located?
So then you just get to sit back, right, and just let them do all the scaring.
No, we like to be in on it, and then of course we still hand out candy. We're slightly traditional in that way, but we're in Colorado Springs, Colorado, so we get snow on Halloween quite frequently.
Yeah. This last year we got quite a bit of snow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You guys are dealing with a big snowstorm today, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Snowmageddon.
It's like a hurricane in Colorado.
We were a little worried we may not be available, but we made it.
So how many nights are you open? Anna Jones would like to know.
One night only.
Yeah, we
see one night only.
The one night. The big show. But I mean, we do it like a couple of weekends before, so it's all up at the beginning of October. So we're up, but not fully ready yet. So.
Our goal is always to have everything set up and ready to test run by the 1st of October. And then we do maybe 2 or 3 test runs through the month where we let family and friends come check it out, make sure everything's working. But just the big night only for the haunt.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll come back to you. So next up we have Rob Beach from Scares on Sequoia. I hope I said that right. And he also has his buddy there, Tim. So welcome, guys. Why don't you guys give us a little bit of a background in your haunting experience?
Yeah. Hey, what's going on? So Rob Beach with Scares on Sequoia. My wife and I moved into our home in Orland Park in 2005, and our first year trick-or-treaters, we had about maybe 12 trick-or-treaters come by. And, I'm used to growing up having tons and tons of kids coming by, and we had no one. So we, started like most everyone, put a couple of, tombstones from the dollar store in the front and the groundbreaker with the head and the arms and the legs. And that's when it began. And about 8 years ago, I listed my home on hauntedillinois.com, which is kind of like an Illinois registry for all things haunts. And that got me on the list. And once I was on the list, man, it was like people came by, and it's kind of, you build it, they'll come. And so this is our 10th year of having, the whole front yard decked out, the driveway. And I did a walkthrough once before with like a 10 by 20 tent, and just liability issues. We didn't go forward with that, but had our biggest year in 2018. We had nearly 5,000 people come by. So it was, and we do it October 1st through the 31st every single night.
Wow.
And we try to have actors on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but Sunday through Thursday, every night I'm out there. So I put in a ton of hours having fun and scaring people and having a good time.
Great. Lots of talk about your animatronics behind you. Do you make any animatronics?
Yeah. So, I started out, I was, my first prop officially was the Jason Voorhees Jemmy prop from Spirit Halloween, circa 2008. That was my first official real prop. He actually still works, believe it or not. Michael, not anymore. But it was really about 5 years ago, I joined the local Chicago Haunt Builders here in Chicago, about 500 members. We do 3 to 4 make and takes a year, typically wiper motors. There are some pneumatic builds that happen. I just go all wiper motors, but I started, with the cheap $3 motors from China, and then upgraded to the deer motors, and then I upgraded to the wiper motors. I know that I'll crack. I'll be like crack if I do pneumatics. So I'm kind of like leveling off with wipers. But yeah, I make about 50-50.
Did you make the props behind you, Nate Digman?
Yeah. So the Scarecrow guy directly behind me is actually Diablo's tech mech design. He's the groundbreaker that Diablo posted up last year as a zombie groundbreaker, and I just wanted to make him into something different. So I used Christmas tree, disposable Christmas tree, that made the branches out of that, and Dracula behind me. He's just wiper motor too, just kind of going forward, and then guy in the center is paper mache. And that, to be full transparent, I feel like I'm an artist, but I'm good at copying other people's designs. So you guys know Gordon Fester, Steve Blumke, that's on the Haunt Hangout. He actually designed that, and I kind of replicated it with my own take. So, but he does a big paper mache Haunt, his place out there in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, hey, there's no such thing as copying, man. We always got it. We all got our own stuff twist to it.
For sure.
They got it from somewhere.
And then your buddy Tim there next to you, he's also a local.
Yeah. So I met Tim from the Chicago Haunt Builders. So he's got the next town over. He's got Metal Lark Haunt, and same thing. Just kind of get together and scare the crap out of people that come by.
Yeah, I've been doing it since 1998.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome. The Chicago Haunt Builders Club, man. You guys got a nice group out there.
Jim Slanker hosts a lot of builds, and he does he does seminars at HauntCon. And then you guys have seen Hallucination Creations. That's Mike Yumbelek. His mom and dad have been haunting for Dark Shadows for over 20 years. This kid's in his early 20s, and already is I think it's his third year at Transworld with the booth Hallucination Creations. So
we had the whole club on Hangout, so.
Yeah, there's the way talented people. I'm humbled to be included. That's all I can say. I'm humbled to be included.
I wish I had a group of
that. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll move over to last but not least, Tim Thompson. I don't know the name of his haunt. I guess it's a no name, but we'll call it Scuba Spook.
Yeah, I'm the haunt with no name. YouTube channel Scuba Spook 1. Been haunting for about last 18 years roughly. It all started off with the trash can trauma that a lot of us grew up with many years ago. Once that little kid took off running down the street, I was hooked. So I've been building props ever since. And we do a front yard display and a backyard walkthrough here. And I'm in Huntsville, Alabama.
Very cool. And you're the one that creates all these prop controllers, right?
Yeah, you must talk about the prop behind you.
Well, this particular prop I built this week is just a knockoff of somebody else's that they did on Facebook last year, and they did a knockoff of somebody else's. So, eventually I want to have a greenhouse room with nothing but moving plants. So this is the first of them. Then the little prop controllers that build for all of my stuff is these little 4-button prop controllers that pretty much animates everything in the whole yard.
Yeah, so they're equivalent to like the boo boxes, right, or something like that.
Yeah, they're pretty much equivalent to the Peekaboos. Yeah,
the Peekaboo. Yeah, sorry. Yep. Awesome. All right, so we'll start showing some pictures, unless Kathy, you have any questions?
No, go ahead. We can.
Okay. So Vasil, we'll come back to you. Start showing some pictures. So, what's going on in this picture here?
All right, so that is my little really squeezed in hallway with my brother is the nun in there. That's a pumpkin pulp mask. And the little picture frame right there is my drop panel that my dad uses.
Oh, that's pretty
awesome. And then you're
They don't have they don't have nowhere to run. That's awesome.
Face to face, really, right there was our main idea. So you get close in contact with that drop panel.
Oh God.
awesome. And how much is your family involved with your haunt? You there? Did he drop out?
Oh,
Oh no.
Did he freeze?
He froze.
the seal.
He froze.
Come back.
I'll talk, Mom.
Okay.
Well, me and my family, you know, we've been hunting for a long time. And, me and my dad and my brother.
That's pretty
And,
good.
You know, I do most of the distressing, and you know, my brother helps sometimes, but I'm better than him. And you know, by next year, I'm going to surpass my father, I think, and just kind of move him out of the scene because I want to really take over the whole thing myself. I hope he's not watching.
Dude, I am not going to take a piss at all this whole 2 hours, man. I got to get the pee bucket over here.
Yeah.
Well, until Vasile gets back, we'll move forward to Heidi and Travis. So with the first picture here, man, the clouds and we talked about this in the pre-chat a little bit. You said your neighbor took this?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lucky cell phone shot.
That's a cell shot. Yeah.
Wow.
That's an awesome cell phone.
Yeah, that was last year's barn. That was not our complete yard. So this was the first night the barn was completed, and we put the FX.
Yeah, the projector in the top.
projector
And
up top.
the loft. So
Yeah.
Donald Garza would like to know, what is your theme?
That year, so originally we wanted to do like a Jeepers Creepers theme, but we weren't really into building a church, and Travis was really wanting to build a barn. So we just kind of meshed it all together. It ended up being a haunted barn, and our yard ended up being a haunted maze. Like the first time we did a walkthrough through the full yard where we had some actors in there scaring folks. You can't see it in this picture because it wasn't set up yet, but yeah, just like a haunted barn and corn maze.
What'd you use for the screen? I always have a hard time getting it to look right.
That's the one that came with it.
Yeah, that's the one. It's just like a
is it?
see-through screen.
Yeah.
It's just like a gray screen.
But I will tell you, it took probably 3 or 4 nights of Travis in that loft and us and our neighbors in the middle of the street trying to get it right.
So is that made out of wood or foam board?
No, it's all framed.
That's a fully framed wood barn.
It's probably 20 feet long, 20 feet wide, probably 30 feet tall.
Hey, keep it up. Store your props in there.
Right?
We actually had somebody anonymously call the regional building on us.
Yeah, regional building code got called that year.
Asking if it was permanent, and we were like, no, this will be down after Halloween.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it actually had the barn doors on there actually worked. They opened up, so you could walk. That's where the walkthrough went. So they were actually working barn doors.
Christine Figueroa would like to know, do you change your theme every year? Or
yeah, it's different every year.
So you didn't have the barn this year?
No.
Every single year it changes.
It's always different. So yeah, the windmill was the year before.
That was our Sleepy Hollow theme. We did the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
We didn't submit the picture, but there's another picture that shows it where it looks like it's lit on fire from inside, and the little.
So do you repurpose a lot of your props, like your barn, turn it into something else?
Kind of, sort of.
If we can salvage the wood, we do. We try to keep as much wood as possible. And then some other props like that little scarecrow in the picture there. Some guys like that, we have pillars and stuff that we can save over. We don't have a lot of storage space. So that's another reason I think we enjoy thinking up with them every year, but we also just need to be able to tear down and rebuild every year.
Joe Klein would like to know, does the windmill move?
It was capable of moving, but for safety reasons, we didn't, just because the blades on that windmill kind of would have hit you as you were coming inside the windmill. So we didn't make it move, but I wanted to.
Originally, the plan was for them to move, but once we let it circle around once, we were like, that's a liability. Let's make it stay still.
It definitely could. I was out there, I think, one time when it was crazy windy out there. I'm up on like a 20-foot ladder trying to tack those down so they wouldn't break. So it was up there.
I'm back.
Jordan Maddox would like to know, how do you decide on what theme you're going to do every season? Like, this is the pirate theme, obviously.
Yeah.
This was the first year we went a little big.
Yeah, that was the first excessive year.
This was funny enough. The year that we did this was the year that there was a guy all over like the morning news where he had put a pirate ship on the house, on his mother's house, and I was like, we can do that. And so we did it.
Yeah.
But then we enhanced it because we had working cannons.
Yeah, those cannons actually had, my dad made a cannon in high school. It was just a little, probably a 1-inch bore. But in that cannon in the back, we actually loaded it with powder and we're shooting it off like on Halloween.
Yeah.
So we started with like maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of powder. And then probably by the end of the night, we were at like 4 teaspoons of powder.
Hey, you was worried about the windmill?
Yeah. And they forgot how to measure.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just pour it in there. You'll be good. So it got loud.
And this was, we didn't have a walkthrough on this year, but Travis was pirating the ship. It was loosely based on Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. So he was our version of Jack Sparrow, drunk on top, yelling at everybody. And then I was on the bottom handing out candy like the voodoo queen. So it was this was the first year our neighbors were like, what are we getting into?
Travis, the question is, were you acting like you were drunk or were you really drunk?
Well, you wasn't adding more gunpowder. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll say acting.
We're going with the rum was gone by the end of the night.
Yeah.
Brian Van Camp would like to know, how long did it take you to build that pirate ship?
Actually, it wasn't probably too bad. Most of the stuff I could build like about in a week.
And what about this here?
Like throughout the week.
Holy shit! I didn't realize it was that big.
Yeah. No, those. So to give you a perspective, the blades on that windmill are 15 feet a piece.
Wow.
So I mean,
Do the blades move?
Oh, it would move. Yeah, it would turn. Those blades will turn. I just screwed them to the building so they wouldn't.
Gotcha.
But I was going to put a motor and everything on it so it would turn. I was in the works.
And in this picture on the left is Travis as the headless horseman.
Yeah, actually, that's me.
See it real well. And then on top of those pillars, you can't really tell, but those are giant pumpkins filled with kerosene, and they were ablaze all night.
Yeah.
Wow.
You take like a whole toilet paper roll and you soak it in kerosene and throw it inside a big old pumpkin, and you'll get about 3 foot, 3.5, 4 foot flames. Right out.
How long did that burn for?
What about your columns?
They'll burn for about 20, 30 minutes,
No.
and then you just fill it up.
Well, yeah, and then you just have reserved toilet paper rolls. You just keep filling it.
Yeah,
throwing them in
That's
there.
Yeah.
Sounds like a horror movie.
The Art of Terror would like to know, how many actors do you have in your hunt, and does your family get involved?
So, the only family involved would be our kiddo, our little 10-year-old. She's starting to really dig it and get in on scaring folks. The rest of the family,
it's just the three of you?
It's just the three of us. But last year for our carnival, we had some neighbors involved. And then a couple years back, we did practically the full cast of Nightmare Before Christmas with our neighbors. So we're very blessed to have fantastic neighbors. Yeah,
they helped a lot. Everybody was in character that year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't get that either. Shit.
Yeah, so behind us is actually from Nightmare Before Christmas. It's if you were to look at the picture of the movie cover of Nightmare Before Christmas, I actually just took that picture of the arch and then drew it all out like on a 4x8 sheet of plywood and then carved it all out with a jigsaw.
That's that.
So it's like the exact replica of the movie cover if you were to look at it.
Nice.
Ain't you just a handy mother?
That's the thing. I dream up all the images and they're usually like really ridiculous. Like everybody's like, that you can't make that happen. And then I turn to him and I'm like, let's get to work.
I'm just
Very nice. Well, we'll come back to you guys shortly. While we have Vasile back. Vasile, how's your connection? Doing better?
Yeah, I had got my hotspot up now. It was the one I was missing it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go back to some of your pictures we had up before.
All right.
So, I'll ask the same question I asked before.
He's going to say the same thing I said.
Yeah, I know. Watch. How involved is your family in your haunt?
I have most of my family that are the actors. I have my dad who acts. I have my stepbrothers and my brother, and my stepmom acts on the occasion. She's acted once or twice.
Very cool. And then this prop here, did you make this yourself or?
I have a
this?
good friend, John Harris, that lives a few minutes down the road, and he does a whole bunch of props. And he had actually did a live cast on a girl, and then he gave me these props, so I had used them on a. That's a 1939 gurney, and then we had bought the head from. I cannot recall where we got it from.
Awesome.
I think it was Raven Productions or something.
Wow.
Debbie Wright would like to know, do you make most of your props?
I make a couple. A couple of them are from Distortions, and then I have John who makes a few.
Very cool.
I love that pumpkin back there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's nice.
Where'd you get the hand?
Those are I'd gotten a friend who had sculpted them for me.
You got a lot of friends, man.
Oh, yeah.
You got to spread these connections.
Yeah, that's an entire costume, the pumpkin behind him. And that's my dad in the pumpkin pulp goat mask. And then we had gotten the jacket from a thrift store and just covered it in blood. And
So what type of scene was this?
this was the trail that we have. That's about a quarter of a mile long before you actually go into the 2-car garage haunted house.
Nice.
Real
You
estate.
probably
That's
had all
awesome.
them friends when you was 5, didn't you?
Mike Ross would like to know, how many scenes are in your haunt?
I have about 14 now. We have fitted in 14.
How long does it take to walk through?
Depends if you're running or walking.
Or being chased?
I love that.
We try and make it people walk, but there's some people, but I would say around 20 to 30 minutes.
Wow.
is about the
Wow.
usual length.
Hey, that's pretty big.
Start charging.
Yeah.
Gotta get the license.
Yep.
Just a suggestion.
So what's going on in this picture here? Is this your garage haunt?
Yes, this is the entire haunt. Right there, the one garage door is blocked off with the exit, and then the other one is our storage glass control room, which we had already fixed. This was pre of the season where it was all messy and we haven't gotten everything up. But if you see the little green lights in the corner, you can. That's our. We have, I believe, 7 peekaboos and then a couple other fidgets in there to control each room.
Brian Van Camp would like to know, do you charge to go through your haunt?
No, it's all donations, and we had gotten quite a bit this year.
Cindy Wortman would like to know, what are your goals for your haunting future?
I would hope to rather start making props / masks, stuff in that, or even go up to owning my own professional haunt.
That's awesome.
You got plenty of time.
Cool.
You're quite talented.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And is this another actor of yours, or is this just a
This is
prop?
actually a pumpkin pulp, Daddy's little sister prop right there. And that is our little grandma's room. We had distressed the walls, and there's a old grandma that's rocking that we had gotten, and then we have an old jukebox in there, and then distressed a lamp, and got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Dolls hanging.
Very cool. All right. So we'll move over to Rob now. So Rob, we'll put up a picture of your haunt here in 2 seconds.
I have a question for Rob. While you're doing that, I have a question for him from Jordan Maddox. What is your favorite part of the haunt season, Rob?
The favorite part of the haunt season?
Yeah.
And when people show up, really, just I gotta tell you, for years. So my first real thing I built was I built a 2 foot by 2 foot cemetery entrance with a drop down panel. And I would tell you, I'd be in that 2 foot by 2 foot box for 45 minutes, just waiting for someone to show up. And it was usually someone walking a dog, and then you scare them, and it's like boom. But yeah, when people show up, man, it's like I lose 30 pounds during haunt season. I seriously lose weight,
Yeah.
Dude,
And
I
then-
think everybody loses weight.
You know,
during
it's
those.
not- but, man, what I did this year, which was so initially we had done like we tried to do a walkthrough, a 10 by 20 and a 10 by 20 foot tent, and it's just so much small of a space. So what I did here was I just took pallets, and this is really to the left of my driveway. I live in a home that's got about maybe 35 to 40 square feet across left to right. So real estate is unlike my man that just was talking. I don't have that real estate space, so I got to use all I can. So I did a witch's coven on the first room. The second room was kind of like a little bit of a Dracula area. In the third room, I had like 5 different werewolves in there moving around. So I had those 3 rooms, and then basically, I did something different this year too. And I don't know, Phil, if you want to scroll along, if there's another kind of scene room. I built these scene rooms. So I'm kind of anal. I wanted to have themes instead of just throwing a bunch of different stuff. So so Chicago Haunt Builders, Fair Balance, that's not my gravestone. I got to build one like that. But I wanted to kind of represent, it was one of our other haunt builders. That's their tombstone. So just wanted to kind of plug our local haunt group. But I did these 4 foot by 6 foot, 4 foot, 8 foot rooms on wheels. So this is the yard. So that's Daryl Dixon. And a good story with this guy. I do pharmaceutical sales, so I'm a legal drug dealer. And I was driving back to the storage unit one night, and all of a sudden I see all this shit on the side by a storage unit, and this guy's staring at me, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I realized it's a mannequin. And I'm like, all right. So that was a big score. I brought the mannequin home, and my wife shaped my son's head and glued some facial hair to make him look like Daryl Dixon. It's got the wing vest in the back. And I'll give some more honor right behind their back. You guys can see the Coffin Puller there. That's Greg Cummins from Oak Lane Cemetery made that. And I basically ripped him off, man. I made the Coffin Puller, which was on a wiper motor pallet coffin. And in my area with the winds, it didn't hold up so well. So it really looks like he's getting ready to hump the coffin. But
I was going to say, it either looks like he's ready to hump it, or Frankenstein's ready to slap the skeleton.
Well, what happens on Scares in Sequoia stays on Scares in Sequoia. So.
Yard of Terror would like to know what's been the best scare scene you've built, Rob.
My favorite scene, and if you get to the pumpkins, I had we saw the witch's coven and the Dracula room right here, which is basically Drac behind us, with a couple of other little bats hanging around, which are kind of hard to see. But the whole idea was to have them covered. And then I had the werewolf den, but I made this pumpkin scene. I had like 9 different animatronics in that thing. I had 20 pumpkins, and you'll see some pictures of it. But that was probably the scene that I think that I got the best feedback from, that people really enjoyed.
Nate Dignan would like to know, do you have trouble distributing power to all those animatronics?
I will tell you that this year I went 100% LED lights. My entire electric bill was $25 in the month of October, because my wife was ready to hammer me on the ComEd bill, and that gets skimmed from the charity money first. And I'm telling you, went up $25 because everything, wiper motors are 12 volt, right? So all the animatronics pretty much 12 volt, all of the LEDs. So I ran from 4 different power sources per se. So the front yard, the garage, over the roof from the backyard,
neighbor,
and then 4 different.
The neighbor.
Four different areas, but never had, and with 5 fog machines going, no issues with power, so it worked out pretty good. LEDs that versus the 200 or 100 watt floodlights. Zoom into the column there, man. I ripped that off from Diablo. That's his twerker. That's the twerker zombie, man. I'm telling you, that's gotta love it. That was a fan favorite this year as well. But the columns are basically drop down boxes, and so that's just kind of looking. That's the perspective from inside my garage, looking to the to the other part of my yard. So the yard is your traditional cemetery with some animatronics in there, and I got Michael D'Amelio, the haunt up there, Maple Avenue in New Jersey. He helped me with the Night King. So, you know, that got him promenaded on the skeleton horse from Home Depot with raising the arms like raising the dead. So that's kind of a cemetery scene. But the twerker, yeah, we put it right by the donation box. I figured it was appropriate.
With LEDs, do you use just the spotlight ones, or do you use just the single 3.5 ones?
I got about 30 of the you know, the LEDs. I got, you know, I hit November 1st, man. Hit Home Depot, hit Big Lots, all those. I think they're like 5 watts LEDs, the store-bought ones, and some of them the fire and ice ones. But what I did, Carol Walker posted up last week that 25 watt one. I think she got off Amazon, and I bought 6 of them, and basically they're like these. You're looking at the here. Switch to my camera real quick.
Yeah, Jose, get on that.
Yeah, well, basically, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner there, you know, I got you know, the kind of these deals, but yeah, got them off Amazon, and they're like 50 watts for like $12. So, but look for try to hit the November 1st. Try to get as much stuff on clearance as I can.
Very cool.
Favorite time to shop.
Yep,
like a holiday.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Rob. So we'll go over to Tim from No Name Haunt, aka Scuba Spook. So I keep trying to call you Scuba. God, I'm so used to that. Tim, Tim, what's going on in these photos here?
Well, those are I call them the catacomb walls. All those skulls I made myself. So they're all made out of cast resin. So I basically just formed every one of them. All the vines would move throughout there. So I had every vine connected up to one wiper motor. So there's wire running everywhere connected up to all those vines. The skeletons inside there are pneumatic, so they'll lunge out of the wall. So there's actually one on each side as you're walking through. So they'll actually jump out at you as you're walking through.
Scuba, obviously I know from watching your YouTube videos, but you use tents for everything as far as like...
No, you're thinking of RAM. You're thinking of RAM.
No, you do use some tents though.
Yeah. I do use some carports, like my blacklight room. That's 4 10 by 20s, so that's 20 feet by 40 feet long. And then depending on what we're doing that particular year, we'll set up various canopies for special rooms. Like we had a blackout room, a whiteout room, but that's my spinning tunnel there. Every bit of that was homemade. That is everybody's favorite. I actually asked this year, you know, I was like, so what do you like the best? You know, oh, the spinning room. I'm like, crap, because it takes so much real estate and it takes so much time to set it up, and it's only one person, me.
You just keep telling yourself, maybe I'll skip it if no one likes it this next year.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, Scuba, when do you start building?
1st of October.
Really? So, you get everything up?
No.
Oh.
Well, what you see up is what got up. There's so much stuff that never makes it out. It's like by the time the 31st,
it's so awesome.
Then, you know, that's it. You know, what's done is done.
John Jeffries would like to know, do you make all of your props, most of them?
The majority of them I make, like the spinning tunnel, I made it from scrap. The motor that runs it is off of a treadmill. All of the framing is all wood, just like that deck there. The deck is 24 feet long. Then most of the props, I mean, if they are store-bought props, I'll reutilize them. You know, I'll buy them broken and, you know, and throw stuff in there. The front yard, that's just the looky-loos. Front yard is just for looks. A lot of things in the front yard moves, just like that particular coffin there with the skeleton. The door opens and shuts on the skeleton. The coffin next to it, the arms sticking out, the arms rising up and down. And so it's like, you know, every 5 feet, something is actually moving throughout there.
Nice.
Are they all triggered separately, or are they all just, they kind of go off when they go off?
They all just go off randomly. Like the little controller that I showed earlier, I actually just put them on just timed random movements, and so they'll just go off and on.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I have a question from Jordan Gallows. How do you mass produce those skulls?
It wasn't too mass producing. It took a long time. I mean, the resin itself would harden up within probably 5 or 10 minutes, but it took some time to actually, come up with the sculpting material. I used Alan Hopp's ingredient as far as using silicone and naphtha that he posted many years ago. So I used that to coat some skulls and actually made the mold itself with that, and then cast the resin up inside of it.
Therese Hansel would like to know, is your spinning tunnel inside or outside? I don't know if you mentioned
It's outside. It's outside. And then in this scene here, the heart-shaped tombstone that actually opens and closes. I think I got the basic idea from Michael D'Amelio, and except nothing pops out from the back of it.
Steph and Rick would like to know, tombstones homemade or bought?
Various. If they move, I made them. If they're static, I bought them. Then
I love
that's one of my favorite characters. I don't know why. Maybe because it's so photogenic there. But somebody came up with that design 15 years ago probably. And there's been a lot of knockoffs of it, and that's one of my favorite props. It's stirring the pot. The coals are made out of bubble wrap with Christmas lights up inside of them, and so they're actually, sparkling, with a flashing bulb. And I kind of spray painted the plastic with black spray paint, so it kind of looks like embers. You can kind of see the horse back there in the background. That's animated. When the Home Depot horse first came out, I had it completely dissected and gutted, and it was rising up on his tail, on its hind legs, kicking his front legs up in the air, and jaw.
You're showing off now.
Yeah, I gotta say, just like you have, this is one of your favorite props. My favorite prop, I think, is the one where the skeletons are taking the casket and it opens and closes like that. That's one of my favorite props.
It's cool.
Seen that one before.
Question from Hollywood Hunter: how did you get started hunting, and what does your family think?
My wife puts up with it. She likes the socialization as far as everybody here, but she does not like the yard being such a mess because it looks like a bomb went off when you first start dragging this stuff out. But family, I mean, they're supportive. My wife's kids, they come help us out as far as at the entrance line, waving people through. But we have nobody in the haunt itself scaring or anything like that. So everybody's just getting the intake of everything moving as they're walking through. This is one of the dragons that was a big popular hit last year. So
do you have that inside? Do you have it in the garage or something?
No, that's actually outside. I built that facade. I wish I was as quick as Kara Walker was, but it took me a full day to make that whole wall. But I kind of wanted to make it look like it was busting through. And of course, the very next day after Halloween, as Vasil was mentioning earlier, we got hit with some heavy rain, and that wall turned out to be like 8 pieces after that day.
Oh man! I was gonna say, I've heard you've had issues with rain or something in the past. Have you been successful the past couple of years with no rain, and have you lost a lot of props due to rain?
I haven't lost a lot of props, but we have lost a lot of patrons coming through. Last 2 years, I mean, we typically only open up for Halloween night. And this year or last year, they was predicting rain for Halloween. So we actually opened up the night before, and we put out a little blurb to the neighborhood that was going to be opened up the night before. So it was actually opened up 2 nights, and the rain held off till the day after Halloween.
Oh, nice. And something just struck me, and I was like, damn, Travis, you're going to have to build that damn vortex now.
I didn't want to say nothing.
I was like, I know he's trying to keep quiet over there. He's like,
I don't want to say nothing.
I got a list, guys. I'm marking things off.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Tim. So we'll go back to the top here with Vasil. Vasile, we have some more photos to show. So what's going on in this photo here?
This is my costume right here, and that's the mask I have right here, which is the Basement FX Affliction with a bloody mouth area. And in that room, that's the Murgatory with the open doors right behind me, as you can see, with the foot hanging out.
Very good. Who does all your distressing of all your walls and everything?
I usually do it.
Yeah, what do you use?
Great.
I usually use a mix of black paint on certain areas with a lot of water. I'll occasionally mix in some blood and some gray paint to kind of make it rustic looking. And
Sure.
other than that.
Jordan Gallows wanted to know how you made those guts. That was in that.
Oh, that's just spray foam and spray paint.
It works.
Awesome.
looks
What's
awesome.
going on? Yeah, what's going on in this photo here? Did you make
That
these skulls?
No, these were store-bought skulls, and we had they were like already made, and it was actual walls of them. We picked them up both for $1 each. So
Samantha Black would like to.
and it's our catacombs coming out of our body bag room, and then that goes into the Murgatory right there, because you come out of the body bag room from the coffin and then go into there.
Samantha Black would like to know, do you have sound for each of your scenes?
Yes, we have overall like around 15 speakers scattered around the haunt. And with that being one of our new scenes right there, because we used to have where there was a entire forest scene that went straight across, like in a diagonal way. And then we had stripped it all out, had to go through all the hay, found a couple dead rats, found a raccoon, and then we had put up all the walls and then sketched out the mortuary going into the cabin scene, which he'll pull up the pictures after a while. But that is our toxic room right there.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's like cool.
Lots of UV lights in there.
Yeah, I gotta say I know it's spray foam on the walls there, but man, this photo makes it look like it's popping like crazy with the
lighting.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, we spray painted it a lot over with UV lighting spray paint, which was a little pricey, but overall it makes it all pop.
Stone Digger would like to know, do you use fog?
Yes, I do. I have 5 fog machines scattered around the inside of the haunt. We have 2 outside.
I'm
What'd you use for the?
Sorry, was your family into Halloween prior, or were you like the jump start to the haunt for the family?
Yes. My mom and my dad took me to my first haunt at the age of 2, and they've always been into haunting.
Nice.
So that's from there.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what my kid will aspire to. Maybe she'll be on here.
So you got the haunt scared into you.
Yeah.
Nice.
The butcher.
This is my cabin scene right here. It's sort of a cabin facade built onto the wall with my Spirit Halloween prop right there, and then the old door that I had built.
Do they walk through that door?
No, it actually curves out, so it's just a facade that lays there. And then we had, for the walls that we put on it, it was just pieces of wood from some plywood that we had just broke off of it.
Very cool. And you distressed all that yourself too?
Yes.
Very nice.
That's creepy.
That is creepy.
Is this it looks like you have vines to the right. Did you have like a plant scene? Or
Right
is this-
there is going into the cabin scene, because we have like lots of moss and everything inside of there. And right there is in the mortuary with I was wearing the mask at the time, and that was a scarecrow at the end of the mortuary. And I was just sitting there doing some random pictures at the time.
Sure, you didn't want your dad out of that mask and you take over.
Great.
And then there's my little brother. He was in the butcher scene, but he went into the mortuary for the time, and that's looking through the vines into the cabin scene.
Very cool. So what was your favorite memory from last year?
That's good. I would have to say having people doing push-ups for getting out of a room. Because I'm usually the actor in the body bag scene, and I'll have the coffin closed, so they're like, they don't know where to go once they're in there. And I freaked them all out, and then I got them to do push-ups to get out.
That's awesome.
That is great. Okay, well, we're going to move over to Heidi and Travis once my computer decides to work. So, is this you two all dressed up?
Yeah, that's a windmill.
That was the Sleepy Hollow. He was the Headless Horseman, and I was the Witch of the Woods. And you can see a nice little ode to the Hessian in the back. We carve about 15 to 20. Well, I say we loosely.
Yeah, we.
Travis.
Hey, remember, I'm the laborer. Remember.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say nothing, bro.
Shit, man, don't freak the little guy.
I usually pick out like 15 to 20 pumpkins, and then pictures I want on them, and then enlist my very loving husband to carefully carve them all. So we have that's just, I think that's might be the only one included in the pictures, but we have them scattered all over.
How do you grow? You grow your own?
No, unfortunately, we don't have that green thumb. But there's a lovely lady in Canyon City, Diana's Pumpkin Patch, and we go there every year to get pumpkins. And then at the end of her season, which is usually the day before Halloween, she lets us come and gather like some really monster pumpkins that nobody's picked up, so we can make some cool last minute pumpkins.
Good. Yeah, just a quick plug on the patterns there at Zombie Pumpkins. I don't know if anybody follows them, but they've got a lot of cool
pumpkin designs,
patterns and stuff. Yeah, and they're a great organization that donates some of their money towards some certain things. So
I
think it's like $20 for a membership, and you can get like 500 patterns.
This is sorry for the 4 pictures, but it's the only one I have to show. The framing and then the finished product. We had a full metal roof on there, the working sliding doors.
Yeah,
that's what
you basically built a real building.
Oh, yeah, it was ridiculous. So
I'm over here with foam, and they're over there with like getting complete
no, that's
workers
like
crew
framing,
here.
So.
Well, and funny thing about the foam is the year we did the barn, we wanted to actually do a pyramid, and we could not come up with enough foam to build a pyramid, but we had enough wood to build a barn. So.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing.
And then you took that all down afterwards?
Yeah, I think there might be a picture we submitted. We call it demo day. It's all our whole front yard. Everything is down and put away by the end of November 1st.
Yeah, the next day is done.
See, I just move in like the living room and leave it up. It's a little corridor to the front door.
Yeah. I'm just curious, did the building inspector just said, "Good job"? You know?
Yeah, he did. He was like, "Dude, it's legit. Like you built it strong. It ain't going nowhere." It was like, I think it was like 10 square feet under. I didn't have to have a permit. So I was like, "Dude, I'll just cut out a foot and be done with it if you want me to." And they're like, "Nah, you could just leave it." So he was real cool though.
In this picture, that's actually Travis
that's
hanging
me.
from the little scarecrow cross there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I built those out of 4x4s and buried them and buried the post in the grass, and then I was able to stand on it. So.
And then we couldn't come up. I mean, it's ridiculous how much people charge for corn stalks. So his boss at work actually had these huge ornamental grasses that die off and look really cool like that. So we harvested those and used them like corn stalks.
Yeah, it worked out good.
Yeah, they worked out great.
Yeah. And again, in this picture, unfortunately, you can't see the rest of the yard, but it was a walkthrough. Oh, there's my kiddo.
Yeah.
That's our daughter being creepy.
That's officially your first prop you built.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
True story.
That's before it all began.
This was the inside of the barn, and it looked like a butcher shop. Basically, there was blood and guts and skeletons, like they looked like they were in acid, and then we had these dead bodies, which I enlisted Travis to make on his day off, and they looked very real in real life.
Yard of Terror would like to know, do you use music at your hunt also?
Yeah,
we do. We usually have speakers.
So yeah, we have a full surround sound system. I think it's got 10 or 15 speakers in it. Wow. And I try to incorporate it somewhere where you can't see. So the cords for all the lighting is buried underneath the grass. So you don't see nothing. So all the speakers will be hidden behind like a tombstone or like behind a pillar, or I'll just pile like leaves on top of them. And in the instance of the barn, everything was up top. So the projector and the surround sound system, there was like wires going all kinds of crazy up top there, but nobody could see them. So
and on this,
cool.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
On this occasion, the FX sounds from the projector we were using this particular year, they provided all of the sound we needed.
So it sounded like someone was walking up top. It was like creaking. It sounded like the floor was creaking.
Yeah.
As the scene was going through.
Yeah, those sounds can be pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very amplified because we had the bass and everything going, so it was pretty loud.
This is another shot inside of the barn. That's me, like a butcher.
Wow.
Those are just foam guts.
Yeah, we use that spray foam too for those guts. That spray foam is the shit.
I think you might have frostbite in your fingers there. You might want to get that
checked. Yeah. Maybe missed a bath or two.
You did your own makeup there?
I did, yeah. I do all our makeup and our costumes usually.
Brian Van Camp would like to know, do neighbors give you any problem with your hunt?
Just the one dickhead that called the on it.
So we are unaware of who it was, but we have a neighborhood website, and we just posted on there, just to put anybody's fears to rest. This will all come down, and the whole neighborhood came to our defense, kind of calling out, like, who's the jackass that did this? Stop being a killjoy. So we knew.
There's got to be. Everybody's real supportive besides that one dude. So
yeah,
it don't bother me. Whatever.
We usually get. We usually our neighbors, especially this past year, because we've been doing it for a couple of years and now they're used to it. They come through and tell us how thankful they are. They have something in the neighborhood for the kiddos. And then we even have people who have moved away and continue to come back. Like they live a couple miles away, or they've moved to like Denver and they still drive down to come see us. So we know there's people who appreciate it.
So Debbie Ray would like to know, what kind of lighting do you use? Like in this picture here.
So there's all there. That was 2018, and there was like a ridiculous amount of lighting going on.
This was the first year we tripped circuits lighting our yard.
I need to make a new breaker just for Halloween. So maybe 2, because there was so much lighting, and plus the lighting and the foggers, everything was just tripping breakers. But
there's lots of fire and ice lights. Strobe lights. We did that cool, what he was talking about, that Amazon $12 light.
Yeah, the box.
Had some of those.
Box black light. Yeah.
On the Ferris wheel, we used outdoor bulbs that you would put like on a patio. The lighting in back, it looks really well lit. Those are all our circus booths that had just regular outdoor lighting. Anything we can pick up on November 1st.
Yeah. And then the pillars in the front there, all those lights are ran up through the inside of the pillars. And then, like I said, all the extension cords and everything is ran through the grass. I'll dig a little, just to pick up the grass and run the line through it so you don't see it. Because actually this one you walk through it. So
that way the kids don't trip.
Yeah, I'd have to bury everything. So, because I don't like to see it. So I bury everything so you don't see any cords or nothing.
Christy Farrell would like to know, how many people go through your hunt?
So it increases every year. Yeah. This year we had well over 500. We were giving out cotton candy, so I think Go
Once they figured that out,
yeah.
we were doing cotton candy and popcorn and candy.
Yeah,
so.
but yeah, I think we started our first year with that pirate ship. We probably only had like maybe 100, 150, and each year it's slowly. I mean, by no means are we in the thousands, but we were pretty impressed with like the 500 that came through.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I actually, Travis, I had one question for you. The body bags that were in the previous photo there, how did you make those quick?
So those, I think we had got a big old bag, probably like 100-gallon bag of fleece scraps. Like they were scraps. And we were gonna make dog toys, but they weren't big enough. So I just took like King Super bags and stuffed them all with the fleece, and then just kind of tied them up and made the form of the body, and then wrapped it up with the sheet. And it worked out pretty good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for answering that question, because I wanted to know myself.
Yeah.
So
that works out pretty good. The hardest part is finding the stuffing. It's like that's a lot of stuffing to put in there. So we had that whole bag. So
awesome. All right. So Rob, we'll go back over to some of your photos that you have. So in this photo here, I know this is it looks like your front yard still with the Diablo.
Yeah.
What's off to the right there?
So what I did was I built these scene sets, and that one is my electrical room. That was the first one that I built. That was the biggest of the 3 rooms. But I basically took the space between the sidewalk and the street, which is our parkway, and these are on wheels. They're on caster wheels, and they're basically 2x3s and built around with plywood. And this one on the right side had a zombie on it, and basically I took a wiper motor to the top upper right-hand corner of the box, and I took 1-inch PVC and chicken wire and made it look like what do you call it, like fencing. And basically that motor made the zombie look like he's pushing out of it. And then I had what I did, I took all of those live wire props that Spirit had, or big lots or whatever. I hardwired them to a 4.5 volt inverter. So those things were shaking. I had 5 of those in the room shaking. I had an old school TV in the center. And then I had that Spirit prop in the back, that electrified guide shaking. So I had about 3 different zombies in there moving around, and my son sculpted the one in the middle. But what's cool, these things were on wheels, so I could at the end of the night pull them back up. And I'm in Chicago, so we deal with everything from 40 to 50 mile an hour winds to rain, torrential downpours and whatnot. And the whole idea with these rooms was I had that one, and then I had 2 other rooms facing like a T formation in that parkway area. And just people liked it because every single room had its own real theme to it. That's a little bit more of a close up, but yeah, I had like, 9 different wires or live wires or lights that would flicker on and off, various ones going through it. So it's pretty cool. It was a pretty cool scene. But easy to make. I mean, and there we go. So Michael D'Amelio helped me with this one. He came up with the mech design on it, but basically we got the Game of Thrones Night King on top of the skeleton horse in the yard, and within about a 2-minute segment, because we didn't use a wiper motor. I'm gonna have to replace the motor. Motor ended up burning out halfway through the year, but this thing would basically make the arms move up like the Night King if you watch Game of Thrones when he's rising the dead. And of course, my whole yard was all zombies, so that kind of was my way to integrate. And my son was the Night King the year before, so every single costume that we use, we just try to repurpose it into a prop. The Dracula, I was the Dracula years before until that was made into a prop. So every year we're just at least trying to repurpose whatever we're buying into something that we can animate.
I have a question from Samantha Black. She says, Rob, I don't see any fencing. How do you keep the...
Yeah. Actually, there is fencing in the front yard. I took pallets and I made these 3-foot sections. I basically made 37 3-foot sections. All goes up into the attic, and it's all made out of pallets. It was all free. I take a green Home Depot fencing post, put that in the ground, screw it in, and the whole yard is fenced off. I got cameras to try to deter, but everything is fenced in. And then the stuff that's on wheels gets wheeled up into the front of the garage at night. This is the one scene that we did put in the garage. It's my brother-in-law John on the right with his makeup. He was out of it. He was towards the end of the night, but we rip. I know Heidi's talking about corn stalks aren't cheap. I put about 100 corn stalks in this particular scene. In the inside, we got a farmer down the way. Let's just leave it at that.
Good to have connections.
I have another question for you from Tanya Gabbaro. She'd like to know, how do you deal with the crowd control? You have a lot of.
Yeah, we try to make a flow. So this is right here again, kind of like that parkway part. So we just try to make it to where you're coming in off the sidewalk, and so we try to have somebody. And the problem I have is I don't have a lot of haunters. I have my boys are 14 and 15. They're at the age they'd rather talk to girls than hang out in the front anymore with us. So when they were younger, they're more into it. Kind of tough now. But on the weekends, they'll come out, and we just try to get people to go, one way around, like follow a specific flow, and that'll kind of bring them through the front, walk around towards the garage, up onto the porch, and then over to the other rooms. But overall, I mean, we'll get a point. We had 7 buses come throughout the season, school buses, party buses, and you got the drunk parents and about 30 kids, and out of nowhere you got 50 people just land on your haunt, like right there. And so, you're running around. This is my incinerator scene. So right behind me, I bought this thing from Chabot DJ Light, Geyser. I got this thing. So basically it makes it look like it's flaming up inside this room. And so it's basically a fog machine with laser light or with LED light. And it'll kind of light off these guys, spirit props. We got the scorch guy, whatever. But basically the fog will almost trigger these guys to jump up, and it's misdirection. Someone's looking one way, all of a sudden something pops up on the left, and you got screaming going on, which is fun. So, but the whole thing with this is it's all covered up, and I can roll it up at night. So, they last more than just the 1 or 2 seasons. You can get several years out of them by keeping them out of the elements. And then got Pennywise this year, so this is right out adjacent right to my front door. We just try to make like every different room a different room. This is maybe like 4 feet by 3 feet, about 8 feet tall, and animated clown on the right.
Did you make that clown?
The one on the right, yeah, that was my clown outfit. That's my business suit that I spray painted years ago.
What about the one on the left? Where'd you get
the one on the left's Party City, and I understand they've got a better one coming out this year from. I don't recall who the retailer is going to be on it. That actually is the voice from. So Scarguard, the voice from the most recent It. This voice was more lame, so we just kind of dubbed in we ripped off some MP3s off of the actual movie, some phrases. But he kind of goes back and forth and scares people. But this was ultimately the favorite room. Everyone loved it. I had like 9 different animations in here. We had 30 pumpkins in here, 50 corn stalks, 10 bales of hay. And the thing I regret the most is that like you cannot appreciate the detail that's in there unless you walk in there. And I didn't let people do it. I chained it off to where people had to peek in unless they got the VIP. If if I knew them, they got to go behind the chain and take a look in that. But so much going on that I just had so much fun building this room. It was my favorite one. So
got a question from Misty Meadows. How long do the wiper motors last? Do they go from season to season? Or?
Every motor that I have, that's a Fright Props motor, man. I have not had one fail. So that's they're great sponsors for the Hunters Hangout, and I mean, $25 for a motor. How you can't beat it, and they don't, because I used to do the cheap, like the guy in the middle here. There's a scare. So to the kind of left of the screen, you see the Corn King. That's Diablo's design of the Groundbreaker, but the guy in the middle there, he's just on a little deer motor and moves around on a bale of hay. And then, the deer motors are pretty reliable as well. I've had a couple of those. I've used those to replace store-bought props, but the wiper motors don't fail. And I would go, pneumatics, but my wife will probably divorce me. So that would,
Yes, she would.
All right. Well, thank you, Rob.
Thanks.
So we'll go over to Tim. I keep wanting to call you Scuba. So used to it.
Yeah,
So-
I'm starting to have internet.
Uh-oh.
No, you don't say. What?
The backyard, when you first enter in the backyard, this is where the start of the walkthrough is. So that's the mausoleum that we built a few years ago. Has a casket and stuff. We actually partitioned for the first time the exit and the entrance, so you can't see through the other side, even though we had people sticking up their cell phones over the wall trying to see what's going to be at the end. Characters over to the left, they're actually under trash bags, it looks like right now, but to try to keep the rain off of them. That was a new prop in the zombie area for last year. That was a knockoff of some vendor, maybe Scare Factory or something. But that guy would thrash left and right, up and down, and he broke on me about twice. But he was a somewhat easy fix. But that's a lot of movement with that particular character. It has a Fright Props flash cracker at the end of the arm there, so it looks like it's been electrocuted.
Easy, Phil. Easy.
Side view.
Christian Allen would like to know what type of lighting do you use?
Mostly the little 10-watt LED floodlights that are remote control. That way I can set the lighting that I want to by remote.
And Yard of Terror would like to know, do you haunt rain or shine?
If it's storming, we'll just call it quits. There was one year a storm came through and it uplifted one of the canopies and threw it across the yard, and we had to say that's it, you know. So yeah, it has to be fair weather.
Okay, Phil.
Don't worry, I'm on it.
And, side view of the Saint Mausoleum. The design from those windows there I got from Jen from Jen's Haunts. She did a little window scene, and so I kind of took off of that and mounted those to the walls, so they're actually repositionable. So if I actually move the mausoleum and one of those windows on the other side, I just unhook them, and because they're just self-standing units, so I just move them to the other side of the wall.
Robert Smith would like to know, when do you start setting up?
1st of October. I don't want to piss off my neighbors or my wife. Yeah, that's the inside of the mausoleum. That's a real casket. Story behind that particular casket: a guy
died, or
we lost him.
Darn it!
It's gonna keep us in
Good
suspense.
story. You couldn't even tell us.
Yeah. To be continued.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Oh, there he is. He's
Okay.
back. He's back. He's
Okay.
back.
So the casket itself was going to be used as the Herman Munster dragster, and the guy decided to back out of it. They actually, on the side that you actually would see when you're walking through, still has the gold end leaves that he actually made to represent that particular car. So he has the bats and stuff on the side of it, but he never got around to building the car, and I bought the casket.
Very cool.
There's the mausoleum walls, the skeletons popping out of it. So you'll walk through there, and it seems like
awesome.
every 20 feet there's a whole different scene. Hall staff from Sanctuary Spooks, Steve Coachy, he actually came up with a haunt name one time. He's just called it History of Horror, because there's some sort of history throughout the whole haunt, that's haunt related.
Sure.
So, because we have, zombies, we have, the pumpkins, we have the clowns, we have the dinosaurs, we got the spiders. I mean, so there's a different scene throughout the whole as you're walking through.
Brendan Fred would like to know, do you use fog?
Very sparingly, just because we do have so much stuff running, and fog machines, technically if you use 2,000-watt fog machines, you pretty much suck up one breaker.
Yeah.
That's probably the issue that Travis was having, was that he had multiple fog machines, and technically, 15 amp breakers, 2,000 watts will fill that up.
We work
Megan
enough.
Larson would like to know, do you have help with setup and teardown?
Everything is on me. So, so I have no help. I have no help except for Halloween night, when the family will come over. My mom will do the trick-or-treaters at the front door, and my wife will be at the entrance of the backyard, or her kid or his kids' families will help out on letting people pass through. We actually tried something really new this year, which we never really knew when to let people go through, because everybody goes at their own pace. So, some walk fast, some run through, some looks at everything. So at midpoint through the haunt, we actually have a driveway alert that we picked up from Harbor Freight. So at midpoint, that will send a chime to the front gate, and so a ding dong, and then that we know that somebody's actually made it halfway through. Let the next crowd go through.
That's cool.
Wow. Wow.
Then this is the spider area, so it kind of curves around, so you really don't see what's coming out at the very end of it. So I mean, that's all made out of pallets. Part of the zombie room we got one huge section of just nothing but zombies. A lot of it's store bought that I've actually made move. So the one character with the no arm, that was a spirit prop that I hooked up a wiper motor up into the gut cavity of it, so he actually rocks back and forth. The zombie beside it, I actually hooked up a Fright Props wiper motor up to it, so it kind of twists and goes side to side. Everything's
animated.
Yeah, just about every 10 feet something is moving. I mean, a lot of it is just just for ambience, and some of it are for scare startles.
Pat Malone would like to know: Do you scare act in your haunt?
I don't know. We always tell people there are nobody in the haunt that's going to scare you or grab you. So it makes it great for the kids. We don't do blood and gore in our haunt, and it's mostly because we get so many youngsters through there.
Right.
And so I mean, that's just me. I like blood and gore, but it's not right for the environment. I want the kids to really enjoy it.
I gotta say, I'm glad I don't live near you, because if I tried to go to a spirit Halloween, I'm sure I would not find anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
You'd have competition, yeah.
Yep. So, Basile, we'll go back to you. Oh, my computer. Hey, guys. All right, Basile, what's going on in this photo here?
All right, this is our trail where you go through, and that's our one really old spirit Halloween prop that we just have sitting out there going throughout the forest. And that's where my brother acts as a redneck out there with his shirt halfway off, with his pot belly hanging out. And we usually do double acting if we aren't full of people. And what we'll do is we'll transition scenes where he'll be out there and I will be too, and then we'll run into the haunt real quick into the 2-car garage and put on a whole other quick costume and then do a whole different scene.
I got a question for Mike Ross for you. What's your favorite prop in your haunt?
Who's killing someone?
I'd have to say probably my distortion exorcist.
Yeah.
She's pretty cool because she'll just sit there and vibrate. And right after season ended, we had hooked up a water sprayer to her, so we got that going for next year. And this right here is in our body bag room, and you can see where the gurney is, and then right across from that is the gurney with the chopped up body, so it's almost as if you are literally looking through that.
Awesome.
Is that a prop on the gurney? Or is that
It was a live, well, right there, that's a TV that we had hooked up one of the movies to. And a little bit. All right, so that is my step aunt, and she was acting as a doll at the time.
What'd you use for the walls there?
Yeah, how'd you get those walls to look like that? That's awesome.
Yeah, we had cut out certain slips and then distressed it to kind of make it look brownish, blackish around there.
Good job.
Yeah.
And you just find that like a thrift store or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, Goodwill.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, this is cool. I like
That is our cheaply made entrance into the clown room, and that is me and my Frosty the Clown mask with my UV hammer.
Nice. So every night do you play a different character?
I have a couple different characters, and I have a lot that I transition to. I don't really have a favorite. That's why I like having a lot of different masks and stuff I can use as.
I got a question from Maureen Perez. Do you ever have rain damage your props?
We have not had any at the moment, other than maybe a couple tombstones that have blown off because they haven't been secured down on the ground. But other than that, it's all inside, so it's not gotten to it yet.
Oh, this is neat.
Yeah.
That is the Spirit Halloween Spirit Acres right there. We had built that in 30 minutes real quick for Arx Mortis. And Kellen and they had all came out and went through it. And that is my little brother with his hillbilly suit with his belly poking out.
Hillbilly suit and redneck.
Yeah.
Is that the one where the floor moved to?
And then
Welcome
I'm in the
to Alabama.
I'm in the background right there. You can barely see me in the pig mask by Pumpkin Pulp. And I was pig.
I have a question from Yard of Terror. Do you keep your hunt up all year, or do you take it down? There's some storage.
Up. It's pretty much up all year for the most part.
Nice.
Nothing really move around. And right there's the hallway, a little bit more detail to show the cobwebs and then the distress that we used.
I love that candle holder.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was actually we found it at a thrift store, and we just put a fake candle inside of it to make it look like it was melted.
Wow, what an awesome thrift store find.
Yeah.
And then we actually have a small pin light that's looking onto it to kind of pop out.
Very
Very
cool.
cool.
That was me. I was dressed up in my brother's suit just for this quick picture around the mid-season to kind of promote it a little bit. But that kind of shows you what's all throughout the cabin scene.
You make all your own costumes, everybody?
I have a couple that I've made, and then there's a couple that's store-bought.
Very cool. Now, you obviously do a lot of different characters. What's your favorite character that you like the most?
My favorite? I'd have to say probably my Saint Asylum character in the body bag room. Because I've had people in corners, like I said before, people doing push-ups, sit-ups. I've almost had people that have backtracked through the entire haunt because I tricked them with a coffin saying you went the wrong way.
Nice.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Vasile. We're going to move over to Heidi and Travis. Okay. So I see you guys got a facade here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's I guess rip-off, not rip-off of something we found on Pinterest.
Yeah, I think it was like originally a spirit prop you could buy, but I redid it and drew everything myself and then airbrushed the whole thing. So it's probably like, so that first seam you could kind of see is an 8-foot piece of plywood, and then the other one is another piece of plywood. So it's probably 12 feet all the way, and then so you walk through it.
Robert Smith would like to know, is that hand painted?
Repurpose?
Nice
Yeah,
job.
I thought airbrushed. Yeah.
Airbrushed.
Out on a big pieces of plywood and then pieced it all back together, cut it out, and then he airbrushed it himself.
Yeah, I had to build some big supports in the back and then put a bunch of concrete blocks on it so it wouldn't blow down.
That was
Jordan Gallows wants to know, how long did it take to make that?
River Boost, that's cool.
Probably about a week, I would say, start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These are the booths we came up with. That Carnival sign on the Ferris wheel is the one that's behind us. We also found a picture on Pinterest we liked, and then we decided we wanted to go really big with it because it was going to be on the Ferris wheel. So again, he hand drew it, carved it out, painted it. Distressed it a little.
And the first booth right here is the ticket booth. It's kind of hard to see with all the lights, but it says tickets. that was kind of, I saw that sign. We were like at a flea market, and I saw that sign that was tickets, and I'm like, oh, we got to do a carnival. So that was like, that was inspiration for that year, or this past year.
Did you use pallet wood on that, or is that real, like, new wood that you made to look old?
Everything is either pallet wood, fence pickets, fence posts, people who took their decks apart. All of our stuff is salvaged, except in this picture.
It's all repurposed.
That top part is our pergola.
Yeah. That's a pretty nicely spread.
That's where we hang out in the neighborhood.
You're gonna go garbage picking in your neighborhood.
Yeah, that was a huge score.
Right? Yeah.
And there we repurposed the dead bodies from the barn. They're sitting the night of Halloween. There was a fire in there, so people would stop and warm up and visit the dead bodies. And this is where we gave out candy, popcorn, and we had a cotton candy machine.
Yeah, I was in the back corner making cotton candy all night.
That's awesome.
You also scared people with a chainsaw.
That was actually our
that was an all saw.
She ran around the yard like with a sinister laugh. Yeah, there we are, a bunch of misfits.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Even my hairless cat made the photo.
Yard of Terror has a question about that. What is your favorite character that you two have dressed up as?
Oh man. I don't know.
That's a tough one.
Lots of characters you've been.
This year was really fun. I felt like we had a lot of fun with the costumes, but I think my favorite year we did Jack and Sally, so that was kind of like endearing. Everybody, like all the kids, wanted to take pictures with Jack and Sally in our yard, so that might have been my favorite.
Yeah, I think when we did the barn was my favorite because I was up on that stand, so people were trying to figure out if I was real or not, and so I'd let them kind of ponder for a couple of minutes, and then I'd jump up off that stand, and I'd just scare like the whole crowd. There'd be like 20-30 people standing, and I'd jump off, and they'd all freak out. So that was fun.
This is our rundown Ferris wheel. It's purposely made to look like things are hanging, and this was a last minute addition. I didn't feel like we had enough shock and awe for our carnival. So,
you mean you don't feel like you put them to enough work? He's like, you can get something else. You can get something else in, Travis. Come on.
All you got, really? That's all you can build some booths?
I said, I think we're going to need a Ferris wheel, and it needs to be as tall as the house.
I want it to be big.
So we pieced it together, and I'm like, no, bigger. Go bigger.
Heidi, Heidi, you guys have place to save this wood to repurpose it every year?
We try to repurpose as much as possible. The side of our house, which is very, very small, is stacked like to the roof with wood that we pull out each year and have to separate and see what we can use. But yeah, we try to repurpose as much as we can.
Do you have any plans for next year?
I knew someone was going to ask.
Damn that question.
Spoiler alert.
Normally we're planned like 3 years out. We've been really good. We know what we're going to do like for the next 3 years. This is the first year we don't have a plan, and I'm really, really scared. It's like we're already in March. We should be doing this already. Oh, this is demo day.
Yeah, there's demo day.
So this is the barn.
Why is there only one person up there?
Right? Someone has to take the pictures.
Back to it.
Probably took about 50 pictures, didn't you?
No, we definitely build and tear down together, but someone's got a better eye for photos.
Yeah. Don't worry, Trav, I'll go do it.
Yeah.
But you can see there we salvaged.
That's cool.
There's
Jack and Sally.
Yeah, there's Jack and Sally.
Oh, okay. I'll go back to that. Go ahead.
Sorry, this one. Okay, yeah, we'll go to this one. This one's cute too because we try to incorporate a countdown every year. So this year, that year it was on the pillars, but we try to do a countdown from like the 1st of October, 31 days, 30 days, whatever, all the way down.
Nice.
Yep.
We think it's cool.
And that guy in the back, if the pillar on the left, there's a guy, the Pumpkin King.
Oh yeah.
He's up on a big stand. He's probably sitting 15 feet up. And it's got like a huge pumpkin up on top. And then we did another one of those fire pumpkins up inside of him. So
there was a lot of talk about those fire pumpkins. Like, do they maintain all night? Is it a safety issue?
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. There's some homes that are going to burn down. You know it.
Safety
Yeah, I mean, it could be when you're dealing with all the stuff that we build, because we're dealing with all salvage, like
Everything is wood.
super
It's
dried
dry.
out wood. So you kind of got to be careful where you put those, because I mean, it puts off at least a 3-foot flame. So you just got to be careful where you put.
I propose, instead of the haunt v human post, let's do fire pumpkins. Come on, everybody.
Flaming pumpkins.
Killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
Our neighbors, I made that Oogie Boogie costume and those masks for Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
Yeah, I made all those out of foam. All the masks are foam.
That's awesome.
The only we didn't have an actor to play the doctor, so we missed out. But we did go to a downtown event, and everybody adored us. And then everybody coming through our yard that year wanted pictures with all the characters because it looked fantastic. We were really proud of that year.
Heidi, in that last picture with you guys with between the two columns, how did you make that archway across? Is that foam or is that wood, or what? How did you guys construct that?
No, that's the labor. This guy right here.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
a badass picture. Yeah. So that was probably like 36 hours on the jigsaw. So I took the print off of the movie cover and laid it all. I drew it all, freehanded all that out, and then just carved it with a jigsaw.
He was out there before work, after work. Like, it took time, and then he distressed it. He painted it.
It's all painted, so it looks like metal. It's hard to see in the pictures, but it looks like it's metal. I had like tons of people say, "How did you get that out of metal?" And I'm like, "No, I just painted it to look like that." So it has like the kind of copper colored green that just streams down that looks like distressed metal.
Yeah.
Nice work.
It was some time consuming stuff. I think I burnt up a couple jigsaws actually. So I would just go, man. I'm just going for like 4 hours straight. My arm is just tired.
It took him longer to make that than it took him to build the barn.
Wow.
Probably. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of that.
No,
so.
Well, thank you guys. We'll move over to Rob now to show off the last of his photos here.
Okay.
So Rob, what's going on in this one? Is this the
this is the butcher block. Yeah, this is the butcher block. That was I was a Leatherface 1 year, and so just what I ended up doing with this scene was took a broken prop that wasn't working. Well, part of it worked. It still moved, but it didn't talk, and it didn't. The arms didn't lift up. So what I ended up doing was just basically putting an all latex, not latex, like it's like a latex rubber apron that I bought. That's a Leatherface apron, and he's holding a chainsaw. He's moving to the left or the right, and that room's got chains hanging from the top, and there's probably about 5 different animated guys. And there's right to the right is you can kind of see her eyeball, but that's just kind of a hanging prop there that she shakes and moans and whatnot. And then that room's kind of littered with a lot of fire and ice lighting. So I think that particular room is about 3 feet deep and about 8 feet tall and 6 feet wide, but again on caster wheels. And it's just another one of these rooms. I've got like maybe 10 spots in that particular room, and it just roll it up to the top of the driveway at night. So. And I mean, and I think what I'm going to do, like, so I officially have signed a contract with my wife to not do Halloween in 2019. As Heidi and Travis were saying, I got a dick that lives next door. Ed, and soon when Ed is dead, he'll get his own tombstone. Ed is dead. I got the first part of the epitaph going. But there's some village stuff going on. So I'll take officially 2019 off. But coming back strong. So yeah, that was prop number 2. He doesn't work anymore. He's retired. I got to find a way to animate him. But even so, he looks so cool because like that's the H2O Michael, that like his eyes are glossy. When you look up, it looks like it's dead eyes. And what I like, what was so cool was my wife is like kind of like Tim had said, my wife tolerates it. She doesn't like the way the yard gets. She likes it when people come by and they're like, oh, this is so cool. And especially when she made it. Otherwise, she really hates it. When I first started out, man, she found on the side of the road, she's like, hey, Rob, there's a full-size mattress bed frame on the side of the road. And that's what I put in between the 2 pillars and kind of hung the chain with the skull in that. But that just, made it really like to quote the dude, man, it tied up the room, put the room together. So just try to repurpose stuff, man, and the 2 different drop downs on those on those 2 columns, and usually I've got 6-year-olds in those rooms dropping down, standing on milk crates, but they get people all the time, which is awesome. So
I got a question from Yard of Cherry. Any tips on how to build the stand-up characters that you use in your haunt displays?
You know what? This one right here, PVC. I found that I got a bunch of free 1-inch PVC, and doesn't matter how free the 1-inch PVC is, it's not worth it. I mean, you got to go at least 1.5 inches to 2 inches, schedule 40, and glue it and cement it. And like this one here, my wife found this. She sculpted the face out of paper clay, and then just put some hair on it, and found the dress in a thrift shop, and it smells like an old dead lady. It was awesome. And the hands were made from where I found the mannequin that I got from Daryl. There were a bunch of hands, and so the hands I epoxy glued to some 2-inch PVC, and as long as it's a little bit bigger PVC, you're good to go. And then I just put rebar on the ground, and then put 3-foot rebar in there, and they're good to go.
Very cool.
Now, it's your logo.
Yeah. Plug Chris Burke made that for me. So I think I ponied up the $40 to get a logo made, but Chris Burke was advertising. He does a lot more actors. So like Twisty that was on your guys' show last year, I think got one made from him. But I told him I kind of like the corn theme the most, and so it was kind of nice to have a little logo I could put on my haunt page. And what I wanted to do was get some shirts made up for my kid haunters, but I got to find a place that prints it a little cheaper, because $50 a t-shirt for a kid's not going to fly right now. I didn't do that well on donations.
Corinne Singer would like to know what's new for this year.
So I'm not going to be haunting this year, but I do have 9 wiper motors, so I'm ready to go with building props. I got 9 wiper motors and 7 deer motors. So in the off season, 2020 will be, like I said, last year I had a total of 3 rooms on wheels. This year, in 2020, I'll have 6 rooms on wheels. I'm just going to put as much into that as I can, and make each different scene independent. So when people are kind of cruising by, looking at the different scenes, it's like, having the enclosed area allows me to really go, into a lot of detail, and put some amber shellac on the to distress the walls in the back that go amber. Then there's Diablo's twist, his twerker right here, man. That was a fan favorite for sure. Oh, it was. And this was a werewolf scene. I got a good shot with the moon in the back. I really liked that. I got some cool video, because the wolf, when it would move, and it would move its hand, and then all of a sudden at the top of the plywood on the roof, you'd see the shadow moving. So I tried to incorporate a little bit of that into my my Scares in Sequoia haunt video. But the guy in the back, that was my costume. Last year, my wife, or in 2017, my wife was Little Red Riding Hood, and I was the Wolf Man, and just a little deer motor moving its head back and forth. I wanted to have it hanging Little Red Riding Hood, like holding it, like he was eating her, and I didn't get around to completing it. But that's maybe for 2020, just mix it up, and like a lot of the other haunters say, just try to give someone fresh when they come by, give them something fresh to look at. So just change it up a bit.
So Christy Farrell wants to know, why are you not hunting this year? What's your
again? So I won't go too into detail, but just village ordinance concern. In my understanding, it's extreme lighting is the issue, and it's like Christmas is more extreme lighting than Halloween. So I'm waiting to see how that flies. There's another really, really big haunt in my particular zip code, and I'm going to let them kind of see what happens for Halloween this year. And then I want to come up to Michigan. I want to check out Diablo's. I want to come out to check out the Clinton Township. And then I want to hit all the other Chicago Haunt Club members' homes, because, when you own your own haunt, then you're at it all the time, unless you could sneak out on a Monday or Tuesday. But it's not the same as going on a Friday and Saturday and cruising around like everyone else is. So this was just my witch coven. Just pallets stacked on top of pallets with pallet plywood on top. I got a friend that works at a BOGO distributorship, so I get free pallets and free pallet plywood. So, just a nice way to kind of put stuff in the room to keep it clear from the elements and the rain and wind. And again, kind of like I'm anal. I like to have, I hate to have like a a yard scene with just everything in there. Like, doesn't make sense why that thing's there. So I like having, having the witch coven and the different rooms in there.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you, Rob.
Thanks.
Amazing hunt there. We're gonna move over to Scuba.
Finish out the night.
Get some photos going here once I figure out where I'm at.
Corrine Singer wanted to know, Tim, how many people do you get to come through?
I think Halloween night last year we had a little over 500, and then the night before, where we just opened it up to the neighborhood, we had a couple hundred. So it's getting slightly bigger every year. We actually shut down the street the year before last. It was just a traffic jam nightmare, and I was anticipating some horror letters in the mailbox, but we didn't get any, so it was nice. Another zombie scene. Like I said, we got just one huge area, just nothing but zombies. Pretty much everything moves. Those characters, both of them move off of wiper motors. So you got one that's just thrashing up against a fence, and the lady is kind of twerking back and forth there in that particular scene. The backdrops are just scene setters, just kind of draped across the back between some piping. So good wind, a little flat, but it was a calm night, so it was a nice scene. Another character,
cool.
I guess one of the
I love that one.
other
Halloween.
yeah, and another store-bought prop that I animated. So he's actually running off of a motor that's, he's just thrashing against a fence. And what's funny is that his one arm is stuck up there in the air, and as everybody's walking by, they give him a high five as he's thrashing up against the fence.
I have that exact prop in my zombie room.
Jordan Gallows would like to know, Tim, do you purchase those cages or
no?
The
fencing actually got picked up from Home Depot. It's just the orange type of fencing, and just get out there with a paint roller and roll it all black.
Good idea.
Then after I did it in black, I realized, fencing really isn't black; it's gray. So I was like, maybe another year I'll repaint it, but not anytime soon.
It looks like chain link fence.
It looks like chain. It looks like it's awesome.
That's been added to the list.
Chicken wire.
It's another list.
Fuck me.
Travis, get to work.
I give you a long list,
Travis.
It's March already, guys.
Yeah, I'm on it, bro. I'm on it.
In this particular scene, I like the pumpkin arch. I came up with that years ago, but I use it every particular year. This is where we use the C word, Christmas. I built a controller. Somebody else designed it, but I built it. It's all computer ran. So all the pumpkins are choreographed to music like you'd see on houses for Christmas lights. And so I've got probably about 13 different soundtracks, and the pumpkins, light up differently, twinkle and crisscross and fade in and out.
That's cool.
And right as you're going up to that scene to the left, you can see a few pumpkins on the ground, but we probably got about 60 or more pumpkins going all the way up that pathway.
Wow.
So I mean, that's a nice little lit up area.
That's beautiful, dude. That looks awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's the front yard, as you couldn't tell. So that's more, like I said, the looky-loo. The kids in the neighborhood, they really get a big kick when they see that first tombstone get pulled out. They're dragging their moms down, and wanting to come see it every single night and watching things, as they get put up. And I guess it takes off the tension off the kids as they get to see it put together.
Right.
Because right off the bat, nothing's hooked up. Everything's just getting drug out here and there, and then eventually it all gets, hooked up. It's hard to tell, but there's a tombstone there to the left of that picture. It's kind of tribute to Pumpkinhead, the movie. Okay. So that's actually the boy's name, who is actually Pumpkinhead, and the whole tombstone is kind of a knockoff from Greg Scholl's Weeping Widow. So that whole tombstone would actually spin around, and this lady would actually lunge up and out and over the fence at you. So
yeah. I know
so that was a a pretty big hit. Another scene from the front yard there. All the lighting's done with the LEDs, RGB remote controls. That can become a nightmare because these particular lights are not. When you shut off power to that whole front yard, they automatically reset. So I mean, they're just constantly flashing until you get out there with your remote control. And, okay, let's turn that one green. Let's turn that one blue. But I think I ran across some this year that you can actually pull power and they'll actually stay that color.
That's what I got. The ones that I got, Tim, same thing. If you program the fade or whatever, they'll remember the last program you put in.
Yeah. So that's going to make it a lot nicer this year all the way around, because it's a virtual nightmare to go around with 13 different remotes, and you're trying to figure out which remote operated what, and what color you had on what, and so
they're all the same. It sucks.
Yeah. And this one, just about every tombstone in this picture moved. The one on the far right has a bell on it, so it'll sit there and just ding all night long.
Nice.
I know that has to drive my next door neighbor crazy because it's like ding, ding.
Put a garbage can that shakes.
And then the one tombstone closest to the fence, it actually is rocking back and forth. The other one's rocking side to side. Try to just make a lot more tombstones homemade, and all of them doing something different.
Cool.
Very cool.
Wow.
Another little side view.
The Home Depot dragon.
Yeah, that is the picture of the backyard. So that's that kind of as you're exiting the backyard. Like I said, we got just about a theme of everything throughout there. So we kind of ended the cemetery theme in the backyard with kind of a dragon motif cemetery. So we got the Home Depot dragon, the Morris costumes, big dragon.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there in the corner is kind of really hard to see, but it's the Big Lots dragon. And just as I did that horse, the first year that the Big Lots dragon came out, I actually animated it. So the wings were actually, like Jamie, she really decked out her dragon, and I mean, it wasn't a skeleton dragon no more. It was actually a dragon. But I actually animated mine, so the wings would actually fold out and they will actually flap back and forth. His head would turn side to side. He'll blow out smoke out of its mouth.
Cool.
Yours did turn out really cool.
Did you make that fencing yourself, Tim?
Yeah. Fencing's all made out of PVC pipe. Yeah.
Nice wolf.
Yeah. I've got a whole wolf scene. We probably got about 8 different type of wolves. All of them are store bought, and I mean that's one of the areas I always hate because you have to go through there and click all your lights. And of course, that particular time I didn't. I said, you know what? Screw the lights. I'm taking a picture. But every store-bought animated prop that is ran off of the controllers that I build. So that way, when you walk into a scene, I actually got them programmed to actually go off when I want them to go off. So all of them's not going off all at once.
Wow, that's great.
How many controllers do you have, Scuba, in your haunt?
Probably around 80.
Damn!
Holy shit, dude!
Yeah.
Wow.
So they were actually like Peekaboo controllers. Imagine. That's over $8,000 probably.
Yeah, right.
So it's beneficial to buy these because they're a third of the cost.
Yeah. Damn, man.
Scuba, post that link up, all right?
Yeah. I have them. They work great. Shout out right there. See?
Yeah, but they're great on store-bought props, on props that you make yourself. I mean, I use it on motors, on pneumatic props. I'm sitting here looking at one prop, which, people always say, don't build this out of that or whatever. But, I mean, I'm looking at a prop that I built over 18 years ago. And as we first started, we didn't have money. We really didn't have eBay. We didn't have all the China sellers. And so I got a scissor hinge prop made completely out of wood. I've got a screen door closure hooked up to it as my pneumatic cylinder and a washer machine valve as my air valve.
I remember that back in the day in the bicycle pump.
Yeah. And this stuff is still operational. I mean, it's like, it's not broke. I'm not going to fix it. But when it does break, I will go in with real pneumatic cylinders and real steel and real valves. But It's amazing how many props I still have and utilize to this very day. That's old school.
Tim, where'd you get your training? I mean, you have a mechanical background or?
No, just I mean, when I first started off, that's back when people really there was no YouTube, so people that were like us, we actually had our own websites.
Yeah.
So you had the monster list, which was the Halloween go-to at the time. Now you got Halloween forum and Haunt forum and Facebook and everything else. But
HuntersHangout.org.
HuntersHangout.org is like the biggest how-to site out there right now.
So a lot of the inspiration, back then came off of the monster list and just people's websites, and so that's where you had the bicycle pumps, because we didn't have the money to do stuff with. We're trash can junkers. So you see a washing machine on the side of the road, and you're like, oh, I wonder what I can dissect off of that.
Right.
Tim, I look for any kind of video that where Diablo's drinking in it. It's usually a successful prop.
Hey, the measurements ain't always right though.
No kidding.
It's the concept is there. Just don't trust the measurements.
Right. Hey, when I say 1 foot,
one foot,
and I'm holding a piece of tape, I meant inches.
They're baby feet. They're little baby feet.
Yeah. When I start drinking, I start building, but that shit ain't always right.
Well, unfortunately, it's turning into that time of the night where we have to bring a close to the show. I wanted to give a big thank you to my fellow co-hosts, Kathy, Jamie, and Diablo. So great job, guys. Thank you. I also want to give a big thank you to all of our guests tonight. You guys have all amazing haunts. Be sure to check out their haunts on YouTube, Facebook. All the links were posted in the thread that was added to Facebook or on YouTube. So go check out their haunts. And for all of you, or actually for those of you guests on, make sure you go back and answer any of the questions on Facebook. I'm sure there's a lot of them. We can't get to all of them. Yeah, on YouTube too. Yeah, that's right, for tonight. So we can't get to all of them in a 2-hour span, so there's definitely other questions that haven't been asked, and if you guys could answer them for the guests, that'd be great. And then on that note, we're going to pass it over to Jamie to see who won some prizes tonight from our great sponsors. Go support them.
Okay, wait, let me say one thing first. You guys. When Jamie calls off your name, you have until the end of the day tomorrow to give me your information, because sometimes people wait, like 2 weeks, and it just gets boggled up, and it's hard to figure out who gets what code and all that. Or anything like that. So you have to the end of the day tomorrow to send me your information. So let's just get that out of the way.
And message him on Facebook, not on YouTube.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, so tonight the prize winners did come from Facebook and from YouTube. So if you posted questions on both places, be sure to listen out for either your Facebook handle or your YouTube handle. So first we have for the Face Factory FX mask, Brendan Frederick.
I like that. That's awesome.
The Fright Props torso tray goes to Jordan Maddox. The SFX library from Sinful Audio goes to Death Trail's Haunted Yard.
Nice. All right.
The ghost-faced ornament from Hornaments goes to John Jeffries. The gallon of fog from Froggy's Fog goes to Kenny Roush. The 7 badges from Scarrett Badges goes to.
Ain't there 6 of them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, whatever. The group of, I don't know where I got 7 from.
I don't know.
One goes to Jamie.
Who gets some badges?
I let it go every time. And I'm just like,
unspecified number of badges from Scarrett Badges goes to Stephen Rick. One of these days, he's going to fire me. And don't forget, everybody listening tonight gets 50% off from Sam Haynes if you use the code HAUNTER. So be sure to take care of that because that's the great stuff there.
Yeah, and just remember, like his stuff is like only like a couple dollars, so 50% off is like $1. So.
And his stuff is really awesome, so definitely go check that out.
Good stuff.
And if you can't get hold of Jose, they're on Messenger. I think Mike Ross posted his phone number in Facebook.
Yeah. Shut up, Scuba.
Pass it around.
All right. The skull from Nightmare Makers goes to Jens Haunt Smith.
Yay.
The $25 gift card from XFX Makeup goes to Christian Allen. The pair of lenses from Exotic Lenses goes to Seattle Haunter. The mask from Missing Finger Productions goes to Nate Dingman. Whoever that guy is, I don't know. The 4 coasters and $10 off from Hot Labs goes to Yard of Terror KY.
Yard of Terror, you can send that to my address. I will comment it later. So.
And last but certainly not least, the $25 gift card from Hotwire Foam Factory goes to William Duffy.
Congrats, William.
All right. All right, guys. Well, that's it for our show. And just so everybody knows, we will not have a show next week because of Trans World. We're all going to have a week off.
We're already a quarter of the way through the season already. Oh, man.
I know. We're halfway through.
Halfway? I just had a quarter.
It's a baby foot. A baby foot.
Baby step. Baby step.
Each in a foot.
Right. But we want to thank all the guests for coming on, and we definitely want to thank all our sponsors to give away free stuff. You know, it's awesome that they do it. So make sure you guys go to them for all your hunt needs this year, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. And don't forget, message me by the end of tomorrow.
Just everybody watching or what?
Shut up.
I better get my shit.
And we're out.